Okay, y'all, we need to talk about Suno because there are some major changes happening with the platform, especially if you're someone who actually creates and releases music. So let's get into it. First, one of the biggest announcements, Suno is introducing new technology to identify music created using its platform. Suno says it will be adopting audio watermarking and fingerprinting technology and working more closely with music distribution platforms to combat fraud and misuse. Now that caught my attention because essentially, Suno generated music could become easier to identify. But let me make something clear. Suno did not announce that Spotify is going to automatically remove your music just because you use Suno. That's not what they said. What I think is going to become really important is the difference between artists who are intentionally creating and releasing music and people generating thousands of random songs just to flood streaming platforms. Those are two completely different things. And Suno seems to be trying to address that. The next big change involves downloads. Suno has confirmed that a new download policy is coming. When Suno announced its partnership with Warner Music Group, they said that eventually you'll need a paid Suno account to download songs, and paid plans will have download limits. We still don't know exactly what all of those limits will look like, but this could definitely affect how some creators work. Think about it. You might generate several versions of one song, remaster it, extend it, change something, download different versions, and then decide which one you actually want to release. So depending on how those limits work, that could be a pretty significant change. Now let's talk about something even bigger long term. Suno is moving toward licensed AI music models. Suno partnered with Warner Music Group, and part of that partnership involves developing new AI music models using licensed music. They've also discussed allowing participating artists to opt in to certain AI experiences involving their voices, likenesses, compositions, and sounds while being compensated. And I think that tells us a lot about where AI music is going. We may be moving away from the Wild West era of AI music and toward a system where licensing, consent, and compensation become much more important. But Suno isn't only changing policies. The actual creation tools are becoming more advanced too. With Suno v5.5, we got features like voices, custom models, and My Taste. Voices is especially interesting because you can record or upload your own voice and use it within your creations. Custom models can also help creators develop a more consistent sound based on their own music. And that is huge for people who are trying to build an actual artist identity instead of creating completely unrelated songs every time they hit generate. Suno has also expanded production tools like stem separation, making it easier to separate vocals, drums, bass, guitar, keys, and other parts of a song and continue working outside of Suno. When you put all of this together, Suno seems to be trying to become more than just a website where you type a prompt and get a song. It's becoming more of a music creation ecosystem. But there are still some big questions. How exactly will distributors use Suno's watermarking and fingerprinting technology? What will the final download limits be? What happens when licensed models become the standard, and most importantly, for independent artists? What does this mean for people who actually release AI-assisted music? Because that's what I'm watching. There's a difference between writing songs, intentionally building records, releasing them, promoting them, and building an artist catalog versus generating thousands of tracks to manipulate streaming numbers. And I think the music industry is eventually going to have to recognize that difference. For now, Suno still says songs created while subscribed to Pro or Premiere receive commercial use rights and can be distributed to platforms like Spotify and Apple Music. Just remember that commercial use rights and copyright protection aren't necessarily the same thing. So if you're releasing AI-assisted music, I would definitely keep paying attention to these policies. Because one thing is very clear, AI music is changing fast, and Suno is changing right along with it. I'll keep covering these updates because I'm using these tools myself, and these changes affect creators like me directly. But I want to know what y'all think. Do the new watermarking and fingerprinting changes concern you? How do you feel about download limits? And do you think licensed AI models are a step in the right direction? I'll see y'all in the next one.